Hey everybody, me again. This is going to be an Adventure Binge update, and then I'm going to cover a couple of other small things I just kind of want to talk about a little bit. Starting with, as I said, with the Adventure Binge. As of right now, there are 16 people signed up for Friday and 18 people signed up for Saturday. That is basically 3 tables. So that's looking good. 4 tables is the maximum, 28 participants maximum for the event. So at this point, it's definitely going to be a thing. Definitely going to be a thing. 2 things I want to cover about this though. I had indicated in previous videos that I thought that the GMs, the volunteer GMs who will be filling in at the different tables, would have to run the adventures cold. I think I commented last time I wasn't sure that was going to work. My plan at this point is, once I have all my volunteer GMs lined up and know who everybody is, I'm going to send each volunteer GM just the sections of the adventure that they would need to actually read ahead to run, except for the last section. The last section involves revisiting terrain that they will have seen either as player or as a GM in a previous part of the event, and it's not terribly complicated, and I don't want to give away the ending. So I'm gonna ask the volunteer GMs to be prepared to run the last section cold if they're running the last section. As of right now, as I say, that's my plan. So I need more volunteer GMs. I have at present, I have 1 definite candidate for both days, 1 definite candidate for Saturday, but he won't be available on Friday, Friday the 29th. 20, yeah. He won't be available on the Friday on Fallcon, only on Saturday. I have 1 person who has said that if he absolutely has to, he can be a volunteer GM, but he's not 100% comfortable doing that. And I would rather not ask someone who's really not ready for it to go ahead and do it. So that's where we are right now. If you are already signed up as a participant and you are willing to be a volunteer GM, and we have one candidate who says he'll definitely do it if he can make it to the binge at all, but he's waiting to find out some scheduling for other events, so he'll know if he can make it on Labor Day weekend or not. So that's where we are right now. If you are signed up for the event and you feel comfortable running some of the sessions, again, I will send you materials for all the sections except for the last, all the chapters except the last. So you'll have something to read ahead, something to prepare for. If you're available for that, if you're willing to do that, please let me know. You can contact me on the forum with a private message. You can send me an email. Information will be in the description below. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think this is going to be fun. I think this is going to be a heck of a deal. I'm certainly going to be exhausted by Sunday, but this will be great. I really feel like it's going to. So that covers the binge. Couple of things that have come up that I kind of wanted to talk about. We've been having a lot of trouble on the forum with AI powered bots. We've always had trouble with Spambots, pretty much since Spambots were invented. What they want to do, what the people who operate the Spambots want to do, is use the persistent nature of the forum, because the forum posts, they don't last necessarily forever, but they last a long time. Forum posts tend to be very persistent. They hang around. That's why we use a forum in the first place, is so that information, knowledge, game materials we create don't just get lost forever, as they do when they disappear off the front page on off the top of the page on Facebook, for example. But the bots have gotten more sophisticated. They're using AI to write their posts. The people running these bots, feed a thread into the bot, or rather the bot selects a thread and reads it. They're still using selection criteria where they look for active threads that were active but haven't been active recently. It's a strategy, I suppose, that they're using. The bot will make a post that Well, in the past, the posts were kind of random and didn't really always coordinate with what was going on in the thread. But now the bots are reading the threads and responding to them as if the thread is a prompt. This results in a better quality post for the bot, making it harder for us to identify that they're fake. And this has become a little stressful for the moderation staff and myself, trying to keep up with this nonsense. We've tried a number of things to block them. At this point, if you sign up for our forum as a new member, posts that you make will not appear on the forum until a moderator or myself look at the post and confirm that it looks legit. And then we can approve or disapprove your post. If we disapprove your post, it disappears as if it never was. If we approve it, it gets dropped into the thread where you intended to put it in the first place. But this alone has not been enough. Some of these posts we're getting popping up now are so good, so well written by the AI that we struggle to figure out which ones are real and which ones aren't. So, as a secondary step, we're now requiring people who sign up for the forum new to go to our new user introduction thread and make a post there. If you make a post there, the post should contain some concrete details that are unlikely to come out of an AI. AI bots are long on adjectives. Purple prose is their thing. They like to use a lot of flowery language. What they don't like to do is provide a lot of specific detail. Even if you ask an AI bot to make up the details, it doesn't always do a good job of it. The details are almost always a little vague, a little general. They're rarely concrete enough for us to verify. If we actually cared to verify them, we're probably not going to verify them, but the point isn't whether we verify them or not. It's the fact that you as a human being have the ability to give this information, and the AI at present doesn't. It is an arms race. They will learn. But anyway, I asked the Gemini bot, Google's bot, to write an introductory post. I'm going to read you a little bit so that you can get a feel for what I'm talking about here. Greetings, fellow adventurers. I hail from the online realms in answer to the name of Your Name Here. It actually did this as a template. I've recently embarked on a quest to delve into the exciting world of Basic Fantasy RPG and stumbled upon this magnificent forum. If you actually write that way as a living, breathing human being, did you walk out of the 1930s? That reads like classic fantasy novel material, which is great if you're trying to write a classic fantasy novel. But modern human beings don't talk like that. Talk like a person in your introductory post to make it a lot easier for you to get in. This then provides a place for, as it is, as a template. Write a sentence or two about your experience with RPGs. If you do that, if you write about your experience and your writings are adequately concrete, we're going to approve you. Right now, the only real example in the new user thread is a user who joined the forum. I wasn't sure if he was an AI or not until he came and put his introduction in. He put in the introduction, and he specifically mentioned initially finding Basic Fantasy RPG through overpriced, and he parenthesized overpriced, through overpriced copies on eBay. That's a real experience that a lot of people have talked about. Have talked about finding it on eBay, whether it was the first place they found Basic Fantasy or not, finding it on eBay, badly overpriced by somebody who thinks that they can fool you into buying from them instead of getting it off of Amazon or any of the other places we sell the game. So I told the AI, no, I need you to be explicit, create fictional answers to questions, and to come up with names, both a human name and a forum handle. So I get this. I hail from the online realms in answer to the name of Elara. Elara may actually be a name for some of the younger generations now, but it's certainly not common. The AI I've determined through some experimentation, has a preference for a certain list of names whenever you mention the word fantasy. And Alara seems to be on the list. It likes that name, so I'm not surprised to see it here. Though you can find me lurking around these forums as Silver Oak. I've recently embarked on a quest to delve into the exciting world of Basic Fantasy RPG. Seriously, most people don't write like that. As a complete tabletop RPG newbie, I'm particularly interested in the straightforward rules of Basic Fantasy RPG. They've got an extra R in there. I don't know if I did that or they did that, but anyway. The idea of jumping into the classic fantasy field without getting bogged down in complex mechanics is incredibly appealing. It's got a lot of adjectives. It's got a lot of adverbs. It's got a lot of words to pump up the emotional content. And it's got a little bit of information about the game, because it says, plus, the sheer amount of community-created content out there is mind-blowing. And then it talks a little more, okay. There's nothing concrete in here. There's nothing in here that reveals anything about the person or the person's experiences. I don't expect you to tell me your innermost secrets. I don't expect you to tell me anything really about yourself expressly, except tell me something that makes me think you're human. And you'll get in. We're really not wanting to gatekeep any human beings out of the forum. If you don't think of yourself as particularly creative or inventive or whatever, that's fine. If you've come to the forum and you just want to ask questions, I'm good with that. But in your introductory post, you can still tell me something about yourself or about your experience. Tell me how you found Basic Fantasy RPG. Tell me about your experiences as a player or as a game master. How many years have you specifically how many years have you GM'd? Specifically how many years have you played? Or what year did you get into it? Or tell me the name of the first RPG you played, because very few people come to Basic Fantasy without ever having played anything. Give us concrete details. So that covers, I think, the new user membership question. I probably should make a separate video about this, but I'm not ready to do that just yet. I kind of want to get some feedback on this one first. On to another subject. A few months ago, I got a email, and I haven't commented on this. I certainly didn't reply to the guy. It is a real email from someone who appears to be a real person, so I will say that. That was nice. Inviting me to make use of a service. I have a service that I'm going to go ahead and just read you from this email. I'm fairly confident this is a form letter. I have a service I think you might find useful and would like to see if you're interested, as well as offer you a deal on getting started with it. Gives his name and talks about his work. What I'm emailing about is a service I've recently set up for tabletop game creators, that would, I suppose, be me, to host an online public searchable library of all content related to their game. It's called Lore Library. It is aimed at games like Basic Fantasy that have an active third-party creator community producing plenty of content and modules. The idea presented here by this form letter is that an RPG creator makes a book, makes a few books, puts out a game, whatever, and third-party creators, fans, come along and create materials that they would want to share. And this is good. It's good for engagement. It gets people involved in your game, interested in your game. It provides content that will draw people into buying your rulebook. So this is great. If they're wanting to play this adventure or use this monster or whatever, here's your rulebook. They're going to buy your rulebook so they can make use of the content. I get the point. The problem with this is that Basic Fantasy doesn't work that way. The Basic Fantasy project doesn't work that way. Yeah, we do have some third-party creators. Third-party creators for us would be people who create game materials and sell them independently of our publishing system. A couple of people come to mind. John Fredericks, one of our regular artists, has published a few supplements and adventures, I think both categories actually, separately from our publication system, and that is perfectly fine. Those would qualify as third party. I don't know that he's looking for a place to share them. We do have a product promotion thread where he's promoted this work, and I think there are a handful of other people that have done this. But we don't have a lot of third party creators. The majority of people who come to us and share materials are first party creators. They are, by their submission, by their donation of time, talent, material to the Basic Fantasy Project, that's your dues. That's how you join our project. You give us something. You share something with the community. Everyone shares with the community. Everyone who shares with the community is a member of the Basic Fantasy Project, and therefore you are first party creators. You are part of something, part of our community that produces our game and our game materials. Like any organization like that, there is a hierarchy. As the author of the rules, I stand in what the open source calls a benevolent dictator for life, which makes me smile because I'm not a dictator. But I do decide on content. I've made content decisions, but these content decisions and policies are publicly shared. Everybody who joins the project either knows this information or can quickly find it on our forum. So it's not as if it's a surprise or anything. It's part of the social contract that you enter into when you join, that you understand that this is the kind of stuff that we like to publish. These are the kind of things we don't like to publish, and we have a place for them, but they're not part of our main project. We don't really have third-party creators. Everyone really is first-party. It was an interesting concept, but even if we didn't already have the forum and the site and so forth, I don't know that there's any way I'd be interested in this. We've always got to have some place to share stuff, but we're not sharing third-party stuff, I guess is what I'm saying. We're sharing first-party. Just toss this down here for the cat. And this. Last item on the agenda for today has to do with our old friend Bishop Madison Brooks and Gothic Church. Gothic Games, whatever, they're the same thing. Before the books have all been withdrawn from, all of the Gothic Games books have been withdrawn from Drive-Thru RPG as of right now. The whole thing is gone. So it's just gone. I mean, that's what I'm saying. But before it was gone, I ordered a copy of Wayfarer. Wayfarer has nothing to do with Basic Fantasy. Wayfarer is a science fiction game written by Bishop Madison Brooks and copyrighted Gothic Church. It is basically, according to the copyright statements in the back and the OGL, it is Jason Kemp's, I believe it's pronounced Cepheus Engine System Reference Document, copyright 2016, Samardin Publishing, author Jason Flynn Kemp. So, anyway, Jason Kemp's SRD for Cepheus is this book with just the names changed, with a veneer of Gothic games layered over the top of a bunch of game materials produced by someone else. And this is their shtick. This is what Gothic Games does. They take freely available game materials and they stamp their name on it. And whatever bits of their identity there are, the names Gothic Church, Gothic Games, Madison Brooks. I haven't seen Bishop in print, actually, so I think Madison just goes by Madison for purposes of being an author. But you do see Gothic Church in the copyright statement on this, so be that as it may. I bought this book because a friend of mine is a contributor to some of the Cepheus materials and does not live in the United States. The shipping would take a long time and cost a lot of money to get a book to him, and this book is the only thing that Gothic Games had on Drive-Thru that did not have a PDF copy available that he could just buy and look at. So I went ahead and bought it, reviewed it for him, verified it's not based on his materials, as best as I can tell. Gave him the information about what it was based on, and that was what I told him I would do for him. But this is, I guess, kind of the last. I hope this is the last gasp for Gothic Church. I don't know. If Madison Brooks wants to actually create something, actually do something creative, I would love to see that. But all Brooks has done is to take one game after another that's freely available, that is open game material or is Creative Commons material, and stamp their own name and the name Gothic Church all over it. And that's it. I mean, that's all there is to it. All this stuff, as best as I can verify, is just copied from somewhere. And this may be legal, this may be within the letter of the law, but I guarantee you none of the people who created this material and gave it away under an open license ever intended someone else to come along and just do that. Just stamp their name all over it and sell it at a profit. It wasn't what any of us intended, I'm sure. I did learn one thing interesting to me that is completely unrelated to any of that, but I learned it during this process. The Demons and Dragons book has a matte cover, and I commented when I first looked at it that I kind of liked the matte cover, actually. I have decided that I don't like the matte cover. This is from Amazon. This is the corner peeling up on the bottom of the front cover. This is the matte is achieved with a coating, and I assume that same thing is true of the gloss, but the gloss coating doesn't peel off. I've never had a gloss coating peel off, but this matte coating is peeling off. So, and all I've done with this, it's not as if I've been using this book in my games. All I've done with this is hold it up to the camera and then put it back on the shelf. So it's not as if I have subjected it to undue wear. So, if anybody had a question as to why Basic Fantasy materials aren't available with matte covers, that's now the answer. Previously, the answer was I liked gloss. Now the answer is I like gloss, and matte doesn't survive very well, doesn't hold up very well. So, anyway, answers the question. I think that's everything. That was everything I set out to talk about today. Again, I'm going to go back a little bit to the very beginning. If you are a participant in the Basic Fantasy Adventure Binge, please email me or send me a private message on the forum and let me know if you're available to be a volunteer GM. I need to get some concrete selections done. I need to figure out who I can count on for this. If you have not signed up for the binge and you want to participate in it, as I said, there's 18 right now. There will eventually be a maximum of 28. I'm still holding a couple of seats for people I hope can make it. So right now the limit on Warhorn is set at 28, or 24 rather, but I'll raise that to 28 sometime probably in the next month or so, after the last people I'm counting on or hoping for sign up. But right now there's still six seats available for Saturday, even if I don't raise the limit. 18 to 24 is 6 seats. So if you are wanting to participate in the binge, the number of seats available is dwindling. Please go ahead and sign up and get your name on the list, so you've got a spot guaranteed for you. And I hope to see many of you there. So thank you for your time, and I will talk to you all later.